Hi everybody, it's Cathryn from In the Pink Designs. I am using a new bundle from the catalog today that is Crafting with You, Stamp Set, and Dies. They're starting to have all the same names now, so there's no confusion what goes with what, which I love. I made this gift box that measures 3.5 by 4 by 1. It opens like this. And inside it says, "Life is better when you're crafting." And it will fit 4 rolls. I have 4 rolls of twine that this has retired. It was the 3 twine combo pack and a roll of linen thread. But also some ribbon. Oops. Some ribbon will fit in and the twine. Just to give you an idea of what will fit in this box. Alrighty. So what we need for this box is, this is an adorable set. I do love it. We need some basic white for stamping, a piece of Lost Lagoon that is 9.5 by 8. We need 3 pieces that are 3 by 3 3/4, 3 pieces that are 3/4 by 3 3/4, and 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 3. Okay, so I'm going to get my Simply Scored, and we're going to start on the 9.5 inch side, and we're going to score at 1, 2, 5 1/4, and 6 1/4. We're going to turn it to the 8 inch side, and we're going to score at 1, 2, 6, and 7. Alrighty. So I'm going to fold and burnish all of the score lines. Alright, so how I have this is there are 2 1-inch strips on the left, the bottom, and the top. Okay, there's no extra strips on the right. And this is what we're going to be doing. Alright, so get my scissors. We're going to start over on the left hand side. We're going to go to the first score line, cut it to the first score line, and we're going to cut off those 2 squares. And I take the top score line with the square, the 2 squares I'm cutting off. Alright, go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, get rid of the square on the bottom, and wedge each side of the square. Okay, now we're going to leave these 2 rectangles alone. So we're going to go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, next score line, cut it to the second score line, take off this square on the bottom, and wedge each side of the square that's left. Okay, now we're just going to take off these 2 rectangles. So I'm going to take the score line with them. Alright, and that's one side. Okay, now we're going to turn it to the other side. And then we're going to do this part. Same thing on the bottom. So we're going to go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, and take off those 2 rectangles. Okay, we're going to go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, get rid of the square on the bottom, and wedge both sides of the square that's left. Okay. Alright, we're going to leave these 2 alone, so we're going to go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, next score line, cut it to the second score line. We're going to get rid of this square on the bottom, and then wedge both sides of the square at the top. All right, and then we're going to take off these 2 squares at the end. And I take off the score line with it. All right, and that's what your cardstock should look like so far. All right, and then what we're going to do is round these corners on this one, and this one on both sides. Okay, this is what your cardstock should look like after you're done scoring, cutting, and rounding those corners. We're going to start over here, and we're going to put a little bit of glue on both of these tabs here, and we're going to connect the score line to the side of this inner rectangle on both sides. So make sure that the lines match up. If you have to do one at a time, that's fine, because I really should be probably doing that. And then we're going to do the same on this tab and connect it in to that same rectangle, just the other edge. Okay, and that's the box. All right, so now we need our DSP. The 3 pieces that are 3 by 3 3/4 are going to go. Well, I made one to put on the bottom, but really that's not necessary unless you want to. So you can put just 2. All right? Yeah, because this is probably going to be on the ground, so I don't know if I would put one on the back. All right, so put one on the top and one on the inside. And those again are 3 by 3 3/4. Okay, now the ones that are 3/4 by 3 3/4, 2 of them are going to go on the long sides, and 1 is going to go on this inner flap. So we have to round one of the long sides, and that will be the inner side. I do miss my detail trio punch that they retired, because that made these little sliver ones much easier to cut. But oh, maybe they'll bring one back sometime. All right, and of course this one goes in here, and then the short sides are 3/4 by 3, and those go on the 2 short sides. All right, so now we're going to just let that dry a minute, and let's get our piece of basic white. Okay, and I'm going to be using Tuxedo. Before you put the piece of DSP on the inside, which I just did, we want to stamp the sentiment on it. So we're going to be stamping "Life is better when you're crafting" on the inside. Make sure it's on the right way. And then I put it towards the top, and you can write a little something underneath. All right, and then put that on the inside. All right, now we're going to just let that dry, and we're going to do some stamping. Okay, so aside from the Tuxedo Black for the sentiment, we're going to be using Balmy Blue Ink, Calypso Coral, and Crushed Curry. Now I mistakenly got 2 packs of the cardstock, Lost Lagoon cardstock, instead of 1 ink pad and 1 cardstock. So I did this in Balmy Blue, which is in there, but you could do it in the Lost Lagoon if you wanted to. All right, so let's do that first. It's a pretty big stamp. This is an E block. All right, and I'm just going to put that right here. Almost looks like a TV. You could cut it to be a TV too. All right, and then on the inside, I stamped the little spray of flowers, but I'm going to stamp it off. So I'm going to stamp and then stamp it off once, and then I'm going to try to get it right in the middle here. Nice. Okay. Oh, and we need a little flower. stamped off also. I don't worry about the leaves this time. All right, I just stamped that one there. And then we need crushed curry for the basket. And I'm going to stamp the basket off also. So I'm going to put it in the ink, stamp it off on scrap, and then we're going to stamp on there. All right. And I'm going to use the Crafting With You dies to cut them all out, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's all of our pieces. Now, if you wanted to close this with the ribbon, you'd have to pop up this, which is fine. It's just a little bit more difficult to get the dimensionals on there. These would probably work very nicely, the sheets, the strips that they sell, but I'm just going to put my ribbon this way again, but you could put it underneath and have it close. So I'm going to use a 3/8 inch Velcro dot. These are low profile. I find them in the sewing section of the craft store. I'm going to put one inside the flap, and then the other one on top of it with the adhesive up. Oh, I'm using two of the same. Oops. I have to use the other one. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure my box is nice and straight on the edges, and then push, and then gently open it. If it doesn't open right away, you might have to take your pick tool in the way there. And then just make sure you're reinforcing it. All right. Okay, now we can do our gluing. We can first, I'm going to put my ribbon on. So I'm going to open this again. I'm going to put the ribbon inside, and I'm going to bring it up to the top, and I'm going to tie a bow up here. And then I'm just going to trim off a little bit. Okay. And this is the Lost Lagoon bordered ribbon. All right, so now we're all ready. I'm going to put some glue on the back of this easel. And I'm going to shoot for the middle. Well, it's going to be a little bit over to the right because the ribbon is there, okay? All right. Okay, and then I'm going to glue the little flower. I put it on the left side, but I really wanted it on the right side. Wasn't really paying attention to how it would look. So I'm going to put it on the right side of the basket. And then I'm going to use some dimensionals. Okay, and then I'm just going to put the basket down right there. Okay. Now for the final touch, I'm going to be using some Tinsel Gems. This is the one with the 3 in it. And I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon ones, which are on the bottom. And I'm going to put 2 large ones in the bigger flowers. Actually, I'm going to put a large one in the big flower and then small ones in the 2 smaller flowers. And then a small one in the one on the basket. All right, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, my email is below. This is my host code if you're going to purchase anything on my website under $150, not including shipping and tax. Please put that host code in. And the link to my shop and the link to my blog that has all the measurements is below. Please subscribe and hit the like button. And have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.